So at this point, you should be able to add new look, view all the looks that you have submitted, and edit or delete these looks. In this video, we'll add moment so that we can include our timestamp when a look is added, and we'll take a look at the REST methods that we defined in the previous video. And this is how your app should kind of look like. So in our index.html, this is already added, the Angular moment and the Bower component moment. So Angular moment depends on the original moment.js, so that's why we have both of these installed. Angular moment will take our timestamp data and transform it into something usable. We can take a look at our look controller, and we can see that we are using date.now when we're creating a time. So this is our timestamp, and in order to turn this into something readable, that's why we use Angular moment. And in our app.js file, we add Angular moment right here. If we look in our looks controller, which is in our my looks folder, so if we go mean app my looks controller, there is one thing that I changed, and that was when we are saving the look. So I already fixed this, but previously I had a dot finally here, and I was attempting to load the data after we saved it so that it would refresh on the page, but that didn't work. So there's two ways that we can make sure that the view is updated correctly when a new look is updated or added, and that would be either using sockets or correctly using a resolve function within our config file. So in our config file right here, we could say resolve and then pass in a function that will get the data before displaying it on our route. So we could say something like function get looks, and then we would define here, and then we would do what we're currently doing on our controller in our service, which is getting the data. So we would need to declare an HTTP and a state params, probably get the data that way, and then we would have a couple functions, one that would call on the data when we initially load the page, and then another when the data is updated. But I'm not doing that in this app. In our service, we defined 4 new methods for our get, put, post, and delete verbs. These are what we're using when we're getting our look and when we're updating our look. So one displays in the modal, and that's why we have a couple different gets for individual looks. And this is we using the get update look, passing in the look, and this is what displays in the modal. And then we pass in the look.id. This is interesting because we're attaching the .id. The .id is assigned to the actual look that we get in our database. So if we were to say look.name, for example, then we will get the name associated with that particular look. And then in order to update the look, all we're doing is we're putting whatever has changed to the look itself. So in our look controller, we can see what we're doing here and here. We are getting the single look, and we're doing that but because we're passing in the params, which is the underscore ID from the front end, and we're getting back the data. And then we're using the update method here, and then we're saying if we find a .id for our look, then delete it first, and then here we're going to update the new data that we've submitted to be updated. And we have our delete, which is just simply using the remove method. So this video was just a simple refresher on what we've done up until now, and describing what Angular moment is to prepare us for the creation of our individual look page, so that when we click on our look, it will take us to that individual look, which will then populate with some various data.